Hello everyone, and welcome to this exciting new podcast for the second year students in sections 2 and section 4. For this podcast, we will cover the weeks of October 30th, November 6th, and November 13th. There's a lot going on, so let's dive right in. If you have not already done so, go and get your agenda or your calendar or your list of assignments, however it is that you are keeping yourself organized, because we are going to talk about Yes, that's right. We're going to talk about assignments, and the theme song for this podcast was chosen by Cynthia. She told me that she liked the 2001 theme song, so we're going to use that in this podcast. Very exciting. All right, so here is your master schedule for the 3 weeks in question. And before we look at assignments, I have 2 important announcements. Here's the first one. Yay, that's right, and here I am with my costume. Tuesday, October 31st is Halloween, and so I'm going to be wearing a costume, and I encourage you to wear a costume as well. I'm wearing my construction worker costume right now to do the podcast, but on Tuesday I will have a different costume, and I promise that if you wear a costume on Halloween, I will take your photo and you will be featured in the next podcast. So exciting. All right, my second announcement is about open house on Saturday, November 4th. And we have a special plea from your teachers. We are looking for volunteers for open house. I know a lot of you came to open house last year and saw the volunteers, and so we're hoping that you will help us out showing around prospective students and their parents, talking about how great the program is, etc., etc. Open house is from 12 to 4 on Saturday, November 4th. You can come for all that time or part of that time. If you're interested, talk to me or talk to Donna or Judy, and we'll get you set up to be a volunteer. Now you're wondering, why would you do that? Well, I've got 3 good reasons for you. Number 1, you can meet new people, which is always exciting. Number 2, you'll get a free snack. You don't get that every day. And most excitingly, number 3, bonus marks. No bonus marks in any of your courses. I made that up. But the first 2 reasons are absolutely valid. So please consider volunteering for open house. All right. So let's now actually look at some of your assignments. The first thing that I would like to draw your attention to is that on Monday, October 30th, you will have time in class to work on your group presentation for the teamwork course. So Grace reminds you to bring everything that you will need, any documentation, any resources, also your ideas and your energy to work on that in class on Monday. On Wednesday, your reflection on the LGBTQ workshop you went to on past day is due, and that is worth 10% in your Intro to Practicum course. On Thursday, in Intentional Educator, your reading response number 2 is due. And Deanne has given us some tips about how to do that assignment. So let's look at the instructions. First of all, you remember you were asked to choose an article, a video, a TED Talk, some kind of document or resource. And Deanne encourages you to use something that you have not used in a previous course. Find something new, because finding new resources is part of your professional development. She reminds you that your reading response is a college level assignment, and so we want it to be as professional as possible. So think about things like the font should be Times New Roman 12 point. You will need a cover page, an introduction, a conclusion, APA referencing, and the entire assignment should be in APA format. Also, Deanne reminds you that the purpose of this assignment is to link theory with practice. So try and connect the theory with any practical examples that you can think of, either from the lab or from your practicum or your personal life working with children. Remember to not just explain the theory. That's not what Zian wants. She'd like you to link theory and practical examples, and also use more than one example wherever possible. That's a good tip from Zian. Also, review the comments she wrote on reading response number 1. That will guide you to do better in reading response number 2. And also try and make it personal and meaningful for you. That's one of the goals Zian has for this assignment. All right. Lastly, for the week of October 30th, on the Friday, you are asked to read chapter 11 of the textbook for your Approaches course. All right, let's look at the week of November 6th. I will take off my mustache and my hat, because even I am getting distracted. And let's look at the assignments for that week. So, on Wednesday, in your Intro to Practicum course, a lot going on. First of all, the lesson plan for your planning assignment is due. That's worth 10% of your final grade. Judy reminds you to come to class on that day, as the activities that you've been planning will be carried out, and there are assignments connected with that as well. You will also have time in class on Wednesday for Intro to Practicum to work on your instructional video assignment, so bring whatever you will need to work on that. On Friday, your draft philosophy is due in the Approaches class. That's an important step towards completing your philosophy assignment in Approaches. Okay, so now let's finally look at the week of November 13th. In your Approaches class, in your Approaches class, you will have in-class time to work on your presentations for Approaches. So once again, come with everything you will need for that. On Wednesday, in Intro to Practicum, your Following the Experience is due. That's worth 5%, and so are the supervisor observations and notes, also worth 5%. And both of those are based on the activities that will have happened the week before. So it is important to come to class for that. There will also be an in-class assignment on that Wednesday worth 10% of your final grade. So please bring your textbook, and you will have another chance to work on your instructional video in class for Intro to Practicum that week. On Friday, please read the reading that will be posted on Leia for your Approaches class, and your philosophy is due on that Friday, and it is worth 15% of your final grade. So that's Friday, the 17th of November. And just looking way, way ahead, on the 22nd of November, your instructional video will be due, worth 15% of your final grade for Intro to Practicum. So there's a lot going on, and you will need to stay organized and manage your time effectively. So if anybody has any tips about that you'd like to share with your fellow students, please send that information along to me, and you could become a podcast star. As always, post your comments on YouTube after you've watched the podcast. Remember that you can always get a full transcript by clicking on transcript underneath the video. And of course, stay tuned for the next announcement, because that will mean that a new podcast has been uploaded just for you. And my final word,